guys, so once again, we got to talk about Miss Tiffany D. Cross, aka Miss Joyless Reid, or Joy Reid like, which is what I like to call her, as she was actually hosting Joy Reid's show, the ReidOut, because MSNBC, I guess, wanted to replace Joy Reid with another black woman that is just as annoying, if not more annoying, and extremist than Joy Reid, and maybe even expose her to a slightly larger audience. And Tiffany Cross took this opportunity to declare that America is in a civil war and it might be time for violence. No, I'm not exaggerating, guys. I am not exaggerating on this. That is actually what she said when she was hosting Joy Reid's show recently. Take a look.
You're saying, Tone, we have to deal with the rhetoric. And, I agree with you, but it's not really rhetoric we can deal with. I mean, you have millions of people tuning into a propaganda network every night. And then, as if that were not bad enough, that's an extremist network itself. You have these fringe pop-up outlets, from OWN to Newsmax. Then you have the social media component. That train has left the station. There is no let's deal with the rhetoric. At this point, I do think we have to have serious conversations around preparing for actual violence. People keep saying a civil war is coming. I would say a civil war is here. And I don't mean to be hyperbolic. We can look at what has happened just in the past week alone. Since all this has happened, we've had 2 people try to declare war with FBI field offices. I don't think at this point we're going to all pack up our bags and go home and sing Kumbaya.
Yeah, so I just love how these people on the left, okay, the side that does not like guns, right? The side that doesn't like guns are always the ones that are talking up civil war the most, despite what they claim about people on the right. They say, well, the right, they're the ones that are always talking about civil war. And I'm like, yes, there are some people on the right, cough, cough, temple, if you consider him on the right, they're always talking about the possibility of civil war, okay? But I hear it a lot more on the left than I hear on the right, okay? Because the left is routinely calling for the destruction of our institutions. They're the ones that don't feel like they can live in a country with people who live in states that they can't control through the federal government, right? And that is essentially what all this comes down to, right? That's what all this comes down to. Because Tiffany Cross herself, she's not going to fight, right? She's not going to fight anybody. I highly doubt she has weapons, okay? She's just going on TV and saying the most radical things that she can say to rile up people on the left whom shown themselves to potentially be violent, right? And she's not going to have to face any of the consequences. She's not going to have to face any of the consequences. But again, they, claim that news channels like Newsmax and OAN and Fox News, they're the extremist networks, right? They're the ones that are pushing violence on this country. But again, like I said, this comes down to the fact that Tiffany Cross is mad that the federal government can't control certain states, right? And this is why they want to fight a war. They want to fight a war over the right for teachers to be able to indoctrinate students. They want to fight a war over the right for women to be able to abort their children. They want to fight a war over the right for the federal government to take away your guns. They want to fight a war over the right for the federal government to police your speech. That is what they want, right? It's all about power and control. But people on the right, on the other hand, we're just saying, look, leave us alone, right? We just want the federal government to leave us alone and to let states be states, which ironically here, that is the solution to not having a civil war, right? That is how we avoid a civil war. Every single time states do what states want to do, okay, in regards to whether it be abortion, whether it be with allowing teachers to teach, kids, LGBTQ, or ban them from doing that. If states are allowed to do things that states are supposed to do, as long as it doesn't infringe on anybody's right, the rights acknowledged to each and every American citizen under the Bill of Rights, as long as it doesn't infringe against that, hey, it should be fair game. And if you let states do that, then this country won't go to a civil war. The reason why is because people are going to move to states in which they agree with the values of that state. Okay? There will be deep red states, right? That's going to, be super conservative. And all the super conservative people can move there. There are going to be super liberal states that, they ain't necessarily got the same morals and values. People are going to move there. There are going to be states that are in the middle, purple states, that are going to be a little bit of both. And people will move there, right? If you let these states truly represent who lives in these states, then the chance of civil war is a lot lower. However, you're going to increase the chance of civil war when you say that the federal government needs to control how people live in their states. That's how you drive us into a civil war. And for all these people, even on the right as well too, all these Civil War people, bruh, I got one question for you. Who are you going to fight? Right? Who are you going to fight? Okay? You going to turn around and fight your neighbor because they're Democrat or Republican? Right? Is that what you're going to do? Because it's not like the last Civil War where there were clear lines drawn in terms of who was fighting who, right? Called the North and the South, right? It was very clear where you could identify who was a part of the Confederacy and who wasn't. This is not the same thing. And that's why these people that keep playing up Civil War, it's just funny to me because I know why you're doing it, but it's just irresponsible, in my opinion. You know, you got freedom of speech, say what you want to say. I just think it's kind of ridiculous. Because again, who are you going to fight? Right? Who are you going to fight? Are conservatives going to go invade liberal cities? Are liberal cities going to go and invade small conservative towns? I don't think that's going to happen, right? I really don't. The only way there can be some type of civil war is if some faction of this country turns against the government, right? And I'm talking about actually trying to fight the army. And I don't think for either side that would go very well, right? I don't think that would turn out well. I'm just saying. Again, I know a lot of people ain't gonna like me saying that, but I'm keeping it 100. When people talk about civil war, I got questions about logistics, right? How? Not saying it's not possible. I just want to know how, right? Unless your objective is to fight the government. If your objective is not to fight the government, aka the military, what type of civil war you gonna have, right? I wonder how that's gonna work. So again, I just wish that honestly both sides of the aisle stop talking about civil war. Because even though, yes, it seems like on social media that it is hard for us to live together, we've been doing it successfully for the past 150, 160, 170 years. I don't see that ending. People will just move to states that match their values, right? That is what's going to happen, okay? Unless the Democrats are eventually allowed to partake in the federal overreach that they're trying to achieve. Then that's a whole different story, okay? We might have an issue on our hands. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.